So we're going to do problem 30. Oh boy, that's way out there. But we can do it. We can. So we'll show the conclusion. We'll make an assumption for conditional derivation. We'll show the consequent. And we'll make an assumption. In this case, it will be an indirect assumption. And now we're going to bring in our premise. Okay, so as usual, we want to look for inference rule applications. Good? Okay. So here's our conditional. It's the only conditional we have, and so we want to do modus ponens or modus tollens with it. But what would we need? Well, we would need this, or we would need not that. Do we have, this is the antecedent. Do we have the antecedent? No. This is the consequent. Do we have the negation of the consequent? No. So no modus ponens or modus tollens. No show on negation, so we're stuck. We need to do a subderivation. Can we do show on negation? No, we can't, because there's nothing negated. Well, we could do I suppose we could do show on neg of 4, but this gets us nowhere, right? We just get the same assumption over again, and so trying to do this subderivation is not going to help us. In general, you want to do show on negation only of complex negations, so only of like a double negation, or more importantly of a negated conditional. It's really of a negated conditional when you want to do show on neg. Okay, so here we have line 5. We can't use it. Well, what do we need? So what we want is Q then not S, or not R then not S. If we had either of those, then we could do modus ponens with 5. So that tells us what we want to do. We want to do a subderivation of one of these two. So we're going to do a subderivation of the antecedent of line 5. So we're going to say show, and then ant for antecedent, and then antecedent of which formula or sentence? The sentence on line 5. So show if Q then not S. And we can assume CD. Now what's the consequent of line 6? Not S. So that's what we want to box and cancel. Can we get not S? Yes, we can. If we look back up, we see, oh, on line 2 we have S. How do we get from S to not S? We do double negation. So there's the consequent of line 6, and so we can say CD. Good. We can close that up. Now, let's think about, we did a subderivation because we were stuck. Now we've completed the subderivation, so we want to use this thing we just got. How are we going to use it? Well, in case we forgot, we can look over here. It says we were trying to show the antecedent of something. We know, okay, if we were trying to show the antecedent of something, then there's another thing that's conditional, and this line is the antecedent of that, so we can do modus ponens with whatever the conditional whose antecedent we've just shown, and the conditional whose antecedent we've just shown is on line 5. So we know we can do line 6, the line we just showed, and then 5 modus ponens, and we get not R, then not S. Can we do modus ponens or modus tollens with this? Indeed we can. We could do 410 modus ponens, and we'd have not S. Can we use not S? We can. We can use it to contradict line 2. So we'll copy that down for indirect derivation. Hooray. So we've shown line 3 now. Why did we show line 3? Because it's a consequent. Okay, good. So when we know that when we are done with this derivation, this subderivation, we've shown the consequent of the conditional that we were working on when we started the subderivation, so we can say 3CD, and we are done. So what we saw here new is show antecedent. So what do we know about show antecedent? So if you have a conditional that you haven't used modus ponens or modus tollens with, you want to do modus ponens or modus tollens with it. So what you want to say is, I'm going to show whatever I would need to do modus ponens or modus tollens. And in particular, I'm going to show whatever I would need to do modus ponens with it, and that's the antecedent. So that's what I'm going to show. I'm going to show the antecedent. And once I have done that, once I've shown the antecedent, I can do modus ponens and get the consequent. So if we look at it schematically, this is what it looks like schematically. So let's spell that out. So we're trying to show something, and we chug along, and we get a conditional, and we keep going, and at some point we get stuck, and we haven't used the conditional yet, so we say, okay, well, it would be good to do modus ponens with that conditional. Let's show the antecedent of the conditional. So we start our subderivation, and at some point we complete the subderivation. Who knows how? It depends upon what circle is and what's going on in the rest of the derivation. But now that we've shown the antecedent of line 3, we can do modus ponens, and we get triangle. Right? We have circle, and we have a circle and triangle, so we can do modus ponens, and that's why we do show ant. We do show ant so that when we're done with it, we can do modus ponens. Now, does triangle let us finish the derivation? Who knows? In our case, we weren't immediately done with the derivation. We had to do some more inference rule applications. And maybe we'll have to do, in bigger derivations, you'll have to do more subderivations, even after you complete the subderivation, the show ant subderivation. So the derivation will continue, but at some point it will finish,